Just like Hong Wei, I did everything at the beginning. It was until about 6 years ago. We have 140 employees when I exited in June. But until about 6 years ago, I did all support, implementation, customer success, and I did a lot of sales. And I did all the sales at the beginning, or most of the sales. And I had these founder superpowers where I could go in and I would actually, I just have customers laughing their heads off through the whole thing. And all the competitors were very serious and formally presenting and all that stuff. And I win all the deals, and I beat companies that were about 100 times bigger than us all the time. So I believe in the founder superpowers. It really is good. So this is, I call it stuff I learned doing startups, about 8 slides. My first one is about bootstrapping. There's not a lot of money floating around like there is in Silicon Valley. Literally, New York is like Toronto, it's like Chicago, London, England, London, Ontario, it doesn't matter. There's not the money floating around outside of Silicon Valley. So I encourage you all to bootstrap. I bootstrapped for 13 years. I don't encourage you to necessarily go 13 years bootstrapping, but I did it for 13 years. And what happened is, because I only brought in money in June 2015, I had a lot of value in the business before I started bringing in money. And over the span of 17 months, I got a lot of money going into my bank accounts in US dollars, thank you, because I bootstrapped for so long and I didn't take money from people. It also means that I could take the time to build a business I wanted to build, because like Hong Wei, I'm an engineer as well. So I wanted to build a business that had a lot of substance behind its product, and it took us a long time to do that. Early cash is very expensive. If you can do it, great, but if you can't, bootstrapping is good. I consulted for 6 years as a software consultant before I took money out of the business. And I kept hiring employees without me actually having any cash. The next thing I want to talk about is product. All of you guys mostly are in engineering, so you understand this. But I see a lot of companies. I bought a company in February of this year, I think, yeah, February of this year, where out of Philadelphia, where they didn't keep up with their product and it got stale. When products get stale, revenue doesn't climb. When revenue doesn't climb, you don't have money to invest in the product. It becomes this vicious circle where you can't get out of it. So I encourage you all to stay very current on your product. You will laugh at what your version looked like 2 years prior. And I go back 14 years, and some of it was really comical to see what it looked like way back then. The next thing is this focus on customers. I was very, very passionate about customers. People would mock me about my passion for customers and our channel partners that we work with. But I can tell you, I just came back from a conference in Las Vegas about a week ago, and I had a lot of my partners there that worked with me and sold our products. And all they did is told me about how they raved about how I was for them and for their customers, and whatever I do next, they want to work with me. So that's a very powerful story to have, and that's because of the focus I had on customers. As you get bigger, I don't know how many people are under 10 employees in the audience right now. The rest of you guys are above 10? So under 10, you know everybody, and it's really cool. But as you start to get to where Hong Wei's size is, all kinds of stuff starts to happen, and you got to really have a strong culture, and you got to really work on your teams. The word that I put in here that I wanted to highlight is pruning. Sometimes you make the wrong hires, and it might be the great person like that salesperson, but it's the wrong timing or it's the wrong skill set. And you have to be careful that you actually help them find a new job that'll be more suited to their skills. Because if you don't, it's going to affect all the people around them. And that's one of the things I learned with my first startup is I got to make sure that I have the right people on the team. And if I have to make some changes because I made a mistake in a hire, I need to make those changes. Values. I said this, I used this slide in Toronto, and I said, you have to really live your values. You have to put them on the wall. You have to live them in everything you do. And if you want to be assholes, then you should definitely make sure everybody knows you're assholes, so that when people join, they know what they're getting into. In our company, we had 3 values. It was smart, nice, and great at what you do. And those are the 3 values we looked for in people. And what was really interesting is that we went around, I'd see people about a week after they started, and I'd say hello to them in the hallway. And they were shocked. They said, everybody's so nice. Everybody's, everybody's so helpful. I'm not used to that. And I thought that was really cool because we were actually living our values and people were experiencing. It just wasn't a sales pitch to get them to join us, but it actually carried through. It also made our churn really, really low in terms of employees. There's not a lot of people who ever left the company. One of my final slides is around pivoting. I don't know, Hongwei, if you started out with what you're doing and for 5 years it stayed the same. My business changed a lot. And as you work with more and more customers, you're gonna find they're gonna take you in different directions. You should actually think about it, but probably move in those directions and follow the money in a way. I started my business as time and expenses for consultants, and now we have companies like LogMeIn and Splunk and Fitbit and all these brands. Even Couche-Tard, all the 7-Eleven stores in Canada and the U.S. and all that stuff. And they were using the company for expense management only, nothing to do with consulting. But it's just a pivot that I had to do along the way. Second final one is money. You have to have a path to making money, or you're just going to be consuming money until you have no equity left because you keep giving it away to get more cash. So keep that in mind as you build your business. Now the final, I just added this last night. It was Derek. Yeah, we were on the phone and I was literally editing in Google Slides. I added this one about letting go because at some point your company's either going to be a rocket ship and you're going to have an exit like I had. It's going to start to die and you have to make the decision about when is the time to let go. And in my businesses, I've had some I've had to let go, and I've had some that have had big exits. But it's important for you to come up with that time and to actually then, when it's time to let go, you let go. I'm not at the company. I founded for 14 and a half years, but I'm going heli skiing in January and February, so it's all good. My second Porsche is arriving in March. So there's benefits to not having to work right now. The final thing is this cyclist. He's got his head up. He's looking down the road. A lot of you, when you're building businesses, you get kind of buried in the weeds. You have to kind of step back a little bit and make sure you're headed in the right direction. So my final point for you guys is that my email's there. I'm available to advise and help, and you can ask questions at any time of me. But keep your head up and be looking at the forest, not just the trees. So thank you very much. And questions.